Hitler defied the Treaty of Versailles in many ways following his election as Chancellor of Germany. He began by rebuilding its military in 1933, and this escalated in 1936. By that time, Hitler's army had over 1 million soldiers. They also had a huge amount of tank divisions and a large air force as well. This was part of Hitler's plan to begin a war of aggression in which he would restore Germany to its mythical imperial glory. In simple terms, his plan in the late 1930s was to create a culturally and ethnically German empire in Central Europe, and to annex or take over a number of other states in Central Europe as well. And we're going to talk about those in this screencast. So Hitler's first event was to move into the Rhineland and occupy it in March of 1936. The Rhineland is this area here, circled, which lies between France and Germany. After World War I, this area had been declared a demilitarized zone by the Allies. This area included Alsace and Lorraine, which had been a disputed area between France and Germany before World War I. Hitler believed that this territory had been unfairly taken from Germany following the Treaty of Versailles. This picture shows German soldiers peacefully receiving a warm welcome from citizens in the Rhineland. They met almost no resistance when they were entering. So now that Germany has taken over the Rhineland, which is this area in red right here, Hitler's next event, Event 2, is to annex Austria and form a greater Germany. So let's look at this map. The area here, the purple, is the country of Austria. Remember, Austria-Hungary had been separated into two nations following World War I. So in 1938, the German army invaded and annexed Austria. The Germans refer to this event as Anschluss, which means union. So Hitler wanted to form a union between Germany and Austria. Hitler had made his intentions about joining the two states in his autobiography Mein Kampf in 1924. Hitler was especially obsessed with this because he was Austrian himself, and he believed that all German-speaking people should be united under one greater German rule. This is an excerpt from Mein Kampf from 1924. Hitler refers to Austria as his birthplace. He says, German Austria must be restored to the great German motherland. People of the same blood should be in the same Reich. That means rule. So Hitler's belief or excuse when it came to taking over, annexing, and invading these other territories in Europe was that all people of German ethnicity, German language, and culture should be united. This picture shows Hitler addressing a cheering crowd in Austria's capital, Vienna. Event number 3. Other leaders in Europe had become fearful of Germany's aggressive nature. Hitler wanted to annex portions of Czechoslovakia, which was inhabited by German speakers. This was also known as the Sudetenland. So to look at this area here, here's Germany. The Rhineland's been taken over already. Austria has been annexed. Now Hitler has his eye on this brown area here called the Sudetenland. So he believed that because there were mostly German-speaking people here, he should control this territory. So the Munich Conference was set up in September of 1938 to address this. It was attended by Neville Chamberlain of Great Britain, Prime Minister Daladier of France, and Hitler and Mussolini, who you know already from our discussion about dictators. And you also know that Mussolini and Hitler have an alliance with each other. So the purpose of this conference that they had was to discuss the future of the Sudetenland and the ethnic demands that Hitler had, meaning that Germany should take it over. So this settlement gave Germany the Sudetenland starting on October 10th, as long as Hitler planned to go no further. So the agreement was that if he takes the Sudetenland, Hitler would not continue to take any more territory. So the agreement was signed by Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, Britain, and Italy, without the presence of Czechoslovakia. Event 4, Hitler takes control of the rest of Czechoslovakia. So obviously this agreement proved to be ineffective. The Munich Conference did not stick, and Hitler takes control of the remainder of Czechoslovakia. So other European nations watched with concern, but there was really no popular support anywhere for another war with Germany. So Hitler was allowed to proceed into Czechoslovakia, and it proved that he was capable of intimidating or bullying those who were against him. Now, the policy that Neville Chamberlain used at the Munich Conference has become known as appeasement, and that's a diplomatic policy of making political or material concessions to end enemy power in order to avoid conflict. So consider this question. Was appeasement the appropriate way for the British and French to deal with someone like Hitler? Let's take a look at this political cartoon drawn by Dr. Seuss. It shows monsters surrounding the appeaser in the center holding these lollipops. Caption reads, "Remember, one more lollipop and then you all go home." Who do you think the monsters represent? Who do you think the appeaser represents? Do you think that the lollipops the appeaser is using is going to stop the monsters from wanting more? So let's just review really quick what Hitler and the Germans have taken at this point already. First, they took the Rhineland peacefully. Second, Hitler annexes Austria. Third, the Munich Conference states that Hitler can take the Sudetenland as long as he doesn't go any further. Fourth, Hitler basically ignores the Munich Agreement and decides to move into the rest of Czechoslovakia as well. So Hitler's next step for him was to unite these two areas. We have Germany here, which now is all the numbered areas we just went over in the purple, and this area here, East Prussia. Look at what is standing in his way, Poland. Now, the next step that Hitler took was forming an alliance with the Soviet Union. Hitler knew from World War I that if Germany was to go to war with Britain again, it did not want to fight a two-front war, especially against Stalin and Russia. So, secretly, Hitler and Stalin signed a non-aggression pact, or an agreement, with two major agreements. First, neither nation would attack the other. Second, both nations would invade Poland from opposite sides and divide it between them. This leads us to event number 6, the invasion of Poland in 1939. So, Hitler intended to take over this part of Poland right here to unite East Prussia, this area, with Germany, or Greater Germany, as it was now called, into one big landmass. So Hitler's army would easily destroy the entire Polish military. This was known as a new type of warfare called Blitzkrieg or Lightning War. There's an interesting video that I posted on Edmodo as well, which is in color, that shows Hitler's invasion of Poland in 1939. Later in September of 1939, the Soviet Union would occupy eastern Poland. So now what you have at this point is Hitler's invasion, which marks the beginning of World War II officially. On September 3rd, Britain and France would declare war on Germany because of an alliance that they had with the Polish. So the German territories by 1942 include all this area in the gray here, as far east as Russia, as far south as North Africa, including Italy, as well as West France. Hitler invades France also after this time. So now that you've gone through each of these events, what you can do is you can rewind the video if you like and go through the events again. You should have out your organizers and ask yourself this question, which we'll be discussing in class. Was this war inevitable? At what point could have Hitler been stopped? And I want to bring up again that great cartoon which is depicting appeasement and how effective it was against people like Hitler and Mussolini.